What's going on YouTube? Pistol Pete here. Again, like always, if you follow my channel, I'm gonna have to tell you ahead of time, the reason I'm speaking kind of low is because I got a sleeping baby in the other room and she needs a rest. So please bear with me. Hopefully you can hear me clearly enough, and let's get started. As you could tell by the title, today I'm gonna be talking about 5 knives that I do not recommend. Some of these might be a little controversial for some people because I know some people do love them, but I'll explain why. And when I say I don't recommend them, I don't recommend them for hard use or use outside. If you're going to use them for display, obviously it's going to be okay. If you're going to use them for maybe just home defense, even that, it's kind of iffy, you know, if you don't want a blade breaking on you. But I'm going to show you and we'll go over, and some of them are even just dangerous, downright dangerous. That's why I don't recommend them. And just too cheaply made. So let's get started. First one here, it's going to be, again, controversial, I know for sure for this one, but this one is the GI Kanto by Cold Steel. Now this one's a little bit in the gray area, okay, I'll admit it. For me, I removed the coating and I put like a bluing on it. Came out pretty good, but the reason why I don't recommend it too much, for the price, it's okay. If you're gonna use this as a thrower, and as long as you know what you're getting into with this, the tips on these, mine broke off, and I have, let me see if it'll show up in there. The very tip of mine broke off, and mine bent. I had to bend it back straight. Still a little slightly cantered, but I bent it back straight. The tips are very brittle on these. So this one is a gray area, okay? I guess for the price, these are like about 25, 30 bucks. It's okay. It's okay, but I've had numerous people, I've seen numerous, you look at recently, I believe, Chris from Prepared Mind 101 did a review on this one, and the tip broke off immediately when he just did slight, like light prying into a rotten wood. Me, I just throw it out my log using it as a thrower, and it broke. The tip broke off. Now you can see I was throwing it. Are they meant for it? These are supposed to be tough, right? I think these are even meant for kind of like throwing. I had to glue the handles back on. The handles popped off. So in my opinion, it's not the best. I think this is a 1055 or 1050 carbon steel, but I think it's just too soft. The heat treat is low. I mean, it's weird because Cold Steel has usually awesome heat treat. I have no problems with any other their knives that I've had, but this one, my friend has one, same thing. His tip busted off. Mine didn't bust off. I mean, the very tip bust off, but mine bent. So I think it's just because it's so thin of a tip. So I mean, okay, I kind of recommend it, but for me, it has to lean towards the non-recommended. So I know a lot of people are probably not going to believe that, but I've seen a lot of videos with the tips breaking, and I also have a lot of friends that had the tip breaks on this, and then my handles busted off. It's just, for me, it's more of a pass than a go. The next one, I highly do not recommend, and it's just all the way around just cheap build, cheap junk. And I'll have to say, I do understand and I do have sympathy for some of these Pakistani knife makers, because they're trying to make a living, right? The poor guys are trying to make a living, but at the same time, I don't want to buy junk, man. I work hard for my money. I work 2 jobs. I try to spend my money wisely, and my wife would disagree when especially when I buy knives. But this one here is going to be the Timber Rattler, big pocket knife. This thing is just junk, man. I do not recommend it at all. Just really shitty construction. Just poor design. The blade is just doesn't even clip it. I mean, if I don't want to do it because I don't want to hit my fingers, because I cut myself on this. That's what I know. The lock is not locked almost at all. It's a very shitty lock. It barely locks into place, and it's almost like it will close on your hand without pushing the lock bar. If I was to do this and pull it, and the reason why I know is because I was cutting cardboard boxes with this, and I was swinging downwards. I'm not even gonna do that because I don't do it. Swinging downward at cardboard box, and this thing folded, and I cut my finger right there. You can look back and see the videos. Luckily, nothing happened. It still works fine, but it cut me, and if I swung harder and faster, it might even chop my finger off. And it was just all the way around, and then this thing was starting to fold a little bit, and little light things I was doing. So this is 100% for display. Again, this is another one, if you're gonna get it for display just because it looks cool because it's a big folder, that's cool. But this is not a Espada, Cold Steel Espada. This is not one of the big folders from Cold Steel that you can depend on and trust and have triad locks and that pretty much turn to fixed blade. This is a shitty Pakistani made junk. So For display, okay. Any type of use, even breaking down boxes, I would not recommend. It is dangerous. All right, let's go on to the next one. The Black Ronin. This one is the Black Ronin. I think that's, I don't know who the maker is on this. Let me see what it says on the blade here. No, it just says Black Ronin, but this is a machete, but very, very flimsy, very soft, very cheap. This ran about, I think, about 25 bucks. Do not recommend it. Tip bent on me. It's all wobbly and woo, just from throwing it a few times. And yes, you could argue that it is a machete and I was using it for like a woodscraft type blade, but still, it should be able to hold up to some. I wasn't trying to bust through huge logs or anything with it. I was doing just light work, light field work, camp work, and it didn't hold up well. The handle cracked right here, and that's not because I hit it or anything. It cracked right there just from using it, just from chopping and hitting wood, like hacking. It cracked the wood there. That's why I wrapped it with this tennis tape here. Again, a wall hanger. If you want it for a wall hanger, just because it looks cool, I recommend it for that. But any other type, I fill it here. I also have some bowing, warping in the blade here. I can feel it right here. There's a bunch of warps. It's all like whoa, 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 all the way up, just from light chopping. Yeah, it's just too soft of metal. I think it's just more for looks. It looks cool, kind of a cool concept, cool design, and the handle is really uncomfortable handle. So that's, I mean, wrapping it helped a lot, but this is just too narrow right here. I can see that breaking on you anytime if you start using this too much. Another one I do not recommend for those reasons. Alrighty, coming down to the last two here. The next one, it'd have to be the Master's buoy. This is the Master. This was called the sawback buoy. This one here is also another just cheap, soft. I don't even think this is 440. I don't know what this is because it's super soft metal, man. This is super bad heat treat. Tons of warping, tons of bowing, tons of folding in here. Tip, super thin tip. You can see it's a little bit bent. Well, that one I think I straightened back out. It was bent over and I straightened it, tried to straighten it up, but I think it still has a slight bend. But look how thin that tip is. I mean, you're gonna break that as soon as you hit anything solid. In use, like I said, I did light batoning with it. Go back and watch all these. I did videos on if you want to go back and watch my full review. And I do, I shave, carve with it, feather stick, chop, baton, throw it. And these ones after like the first use, all these pretty much fell apart. So that's what I'm right there. So I had to glue the handles on. Handles came off, and then they have these cheap ass star screws. They get stripped out. So I just kind of glued those in there because they're pretty much stripped when I tried taking them off. The guard, of course, came loose. I glued it all back on there tight. This did come, I'll admit, it did come razor sharp, and you can get it razor sharp just because it's so soft of metal. It holds it doesn't hold an edge for nothing, but it can get an edge really sharp because of the soft metal, I think. So I mean, maybe for self-defense because this is really slender for piercing and stuff. But even that, I mean, someone breaks in your house and tries stabbing and they're wearing a thick coat, it might even break the tip off in there. But I mean, you still do some damage. I mean, I guess you still do some damage. So wall hanger again, when you get them brand new, they look pretty bitchin' brand new if you want a wall hanger. But any type of use, no, this is just a fail, a total fail. Wouldn't recommend, to anyone except for a wall hanger, or like I said, maybe a self-defense blade. But even me, for self-defense, I want something sturdy. Again, you start swinging at somebody and you miss and you hit something, and then because you hit it, it breaks the blade off or it breaks off from the handle, or you end up cutting yourself because it broke. Not worth it. I would have a sturdy, reliable knife for self-defense or camp tasks. So again, this wall hanger. Alrighty, last, and this one is the biggest fail of them all. This one is actually super dangerous. It kind of pisses me off. I think if you follow my channel at all, you know what I'm talking about here when I show it to you. So the last one has to be, hands down, the giant killer buoy. Now I had high hopes for this because I saw a few other content creators do reviews on this one, and they're chopping through thick branches, thick trees, and it looks like it held up great. Like, I don't know if maybe when they first started making these, they made them right, and they started to build them with a little more quality. And again, Pakistani blade, all these, if it's not China, they're Pakistan, all these here. And that, again, hate to throw a lot of shade on Pakistan, but it's very, very, very rare you're gonna come across a nice blade from Pakistan. I haven't seen one yet, put it that way. I mean, they're probably out there. There's probably a few that some guys go, oh no, I got my Pakistan knife, it's great. I mean, there may be some. You know what? I take that back because I do have a couple timber rattlers that are made in Pakistan that are pretty good. They held up really well, user-wise. But majority of Pakistan blades are junk. So, but there are a few diamond in the roughs, just like everywhere else. So I'll give them that. But this is not one of them. Pakistan. It looks cool. It looks like, oh man, it's a huge thick blade, 1/2 inch thick, heavy, 5 pounds. 5 pounds, looks like it'd be awesome, right? Total gimmick. Well, this one here, the newer versions, and there's a lot of them because I bought 2 and my friend bought 1. And we all checked it. These are partial, how would you say, partial tang, or not partial tang, where they ended up welding like a tack weld, cheap tack weld, the handle to the blade, which on a 5-pound blade, that is dangerous. You know, you start chopping with this and the handle busts off and the blade falls on your foot or flies back at your face. Once I saw that, I was like, whoa. So I took the other one apart that I had, same thing. My friend took his apart, same thing. But there was one guy, I think his name's Joe Doomsday. He's another content creator. He took his apart when he saw my video, and his was full tang all the way through. And he doesn't have any problem with his. Mine, I have a bunch of warping in the edge. You can feel it's all wavy right here. You know, it's 1/2 inch thick. I mean, you go watch my video, it held up really well. My video, it held up great. I did batoning, I slammed through thick ass logs and baton through thick things, and it held up. It did hold up through that, but long-term use, no, it's dangerous. I mean, this big old, imagine this busting off and falling on your foot, or you're swinging down and the blade pops and pops back and flies back at your face. You're doing serious damage, dude. So, and it's a shitty little tack weld. Go watch the video. I did a video on it as well. I think also Wyatt Hines did a video when he took this apart, and he shows you where the welds are in here. I mean, just shitty welds. They weld it and then they shave it down. So it's just, I mean, again, 100% decoration. If you want something just to be able to go, wow, that's crazy, thick buoy, you can get that from this factor, but definitely don't use it. Definitely don't use it. This can be very dangerous using this one. Unless you have an old one and you took it apart and you saw that it's a full, all the way full tang from the tip to the end. But this one here has a separation here where they just tack weld it together. So, and of course it was, you know, they just said stainless steel. They're, like I said, flimsy, wobbly, and these aren't cheap. These are $100. So, another thing that made me mad about this one too, I tried contacting, I got this from Bud K, which we all know. We all learned, you know, when I first buying knives when I was younger, I was buying from Bud K, realized they have all junk. You know, I hate to talk shit about their company, but horrible customer service, horrible, just all the way around. I called them and told them about this and said, hey, look, check out my review, check out this is dangerous. You know, I don't think you should be, you know, and it says in the description, full tang construction, beast, blah, 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 you know, giant killer. And I said, it's kind of false advertising. You guys say full tang construction. This isn't full tang. This is welded half together, all shitty. And they just they started ignoring my emails. Never got back to me. At first they said, oh, let me look into it. We'll get back to you. Never heard back. Sent another email. Never heard back again. And then they just started ignoring me. They probably blocked my email after that. So I can just warn you guys, I don't recommend them at all. And this is the kind of crap they put out that could be potentially dangerous if you get people using these things, and then they could use these for actual like hard use, you know, chopping logs in half and stuff. No way. No, don't do it with this thing. You'll end up breaking your damn, you're chopping your foot off, or chopping someone else's foot off. We wrapped it in this just to hold a little bit steady, just because that's exactly where it connects there. Just to give it a little more rigidity, a little more toughness, and for less chance of it popping in two. But this, I'm too nervous to use anymore. The only thing I'll use this for is throwing. I'll throw it at the log, because if it falls apart throwing it, it's not gonna hit anyone or hit me. It's just gonna fall apart at the log where I throw it. But as far as hard use slamming or batoning, nah. Maybe the only other thing I could think of doing is making, it might be worth doing, I don't know. There's such cheap metal though, I don't think it'd be worth it, but cutting it down here, having it come up here, and then making a handle and making like a short dagger, you know, make it not so big, make it to where it's just like boom here, and this will be all full tang, obviously, right? Because this is all one piece. And doing that might be a possibility. and I'll feel a lot more secure using it than like this now. So that's it, guys. All right, just wanted to do a rundown of the 5 blades I do not recommend and the reasons. You could choose for yourself, you know, if you think that any of these you like. For the price, like I said, this is overpriced. All those are around other ones I showed you around 25, 30 bucks. They might be worth it to you. I don't know. For me, I don't like them. I mean, I regret getting them. But you never know until you test them, right? That's what this whole thing's about. That's why I do these reviews for you guys, because I'll test them out, run them through the paces, and I'll show you. And the majority of the ones I've purchased have been great. So these are the only 5 that out of the hundreds I have tested that didn't hold up to abuse and use. So, all right, guys, please like, subscribe, and until next knife, gun, or whatever.